Title: The Isle of Shadows. The old supermarket sat on the edge of town, its faded sign barely visible in the dim twilight. The townsfolk whispered tales of strange happenings within its walls, of items appearing and disappearing without explanation, and of eerie shadows that seemed to lurk in every aisle. Despite the rumors, Sarah found herself drawn to the supermarket one chilly evening. She had heard the stories, but her curiosity got the better of her as she entered the dimly lit store. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead, casting strange shadows on the worn linoleum floor. Sarah wandered through the aisles, her footsteps echoing in the empty store. The shelves were sparsely stocked, and the air was heavy with the scent of dust and decay. She shivered, pulling her coat tighter around her as she moved deeper into the store. As she turned a corner, Sarah saw something that made her blood run cold. Standing at the end of the aisle was a figure cloaked in shadows, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. She froze, unable to move as the figure began to approach her. "Who are you?" Sarah whispered, her voice trembling with fear. The figure said nothing, its footsteps echoing ominously against the tiled floor. Sarah backed away slowly, her heart pounding in her chest. She had to get out of there, she told herself, had to escape before it was too late. But no matter which way she turned, the figure seemed to block her path. Panic rising within her, Sarah broke into a run, her footsteps echoing through the empty store. She rounded a corner and found herself face to face with a dead end. Trapped, Sarah turned to confront the figure, her heart racing as it drew closer. But as it stepped into the light, she saw that it was not a figure at all, but a man, his features obscured by the shadows. "Please," Sarah begged, her voice barely a whisper. "Let me go." The man said nothing, his eyes piercing into hers with an intensity that sent shivers down her spine. And then, without warning, he lunged forward, his hands closing around her throat. Sarah screamed as she felt his grip tighten, squeezing the life out of her. She struggled, clawing at his hands as darkness closed in around her. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the pressure was gone, and Sarah collapsed to the ground, gasping for air. She lay there for what felt like an eternity, her heart pounding in her chest as she waited for the figure to return. But when she finally mustered the courage to look up, she saw that the aisle was empty once more. With trembling hands, Sarah pulled herself to her feet and stumbled out of the supermarket, her mind reeling with terror. She had narrowly escaped with her life, but she knew that she would never forget the horrors she had witnessed within those walls. As she made her way home, Sarah vowed never to return to the supermarket again. But deep down, she knew that the shadows would haunt her dreams for the rest of her days, a grim reminder of the darkness that lurked within the aisles of the old store. And so the old supermarket remained standing, its doors open to those brave enough to enter. But for Sarah, and for many others who had dared to venture inside, it would always be a place of nightmares, a place where the shadows whispered of unspeakable horrors hidden in the darkness.